All right, so finally, the Rangers grab a win as they beat the Washington Capitals 2-1 in Game 42 of the regular season, and definitely not the prettiest win at all. Definitely was very ugly, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be straight up. I don't want to sugarcoat anything. I'm not moved. I'm sorry to be that guy. I am not moved until there's a reason to be moved. You got to start somewhere. So maybe this is the spot where they start and maybe they get something going and they build off of this. But I'm, for one, not entirely moved personally because some of the glaring issues from the previous games carried over into this one. And I'm just being honest. I'm happy again. I'm not going to sit here and complain about 2 points, but there are still definitely issues that came up throughout the game. A lot of the same ones, whether it was clearing the puck out, whether it was the defending the rush, I guess was a little better. Sort of. They didn't allow as many rushes, but it was an improvement over what we've seen, I guess. And then in terms of the offense, Capo Caco coming back, I will say that definitely helped out this lineup. He was one of the guys that was very noticeable. Glad he's back in the lineup. I think the charts did him dirty. I thought he was better than what it suggests. I think he had a very big impact, and I'm pretty sure he actually had like some of the most high danger chances out of any Rangers player in this game. No, they never mind. I was very wrong. I was looking at something else, I guess, earlier, but I thought Capo Caco had a solid game. He definitely had one high danger chance, though, right? Because I'm looking at last night's game. That's embarrassing that I accidentally did that for this. Because I was gonna say, what the hell happened? How did he go from having three high danger chances? Then I see Anton Bleed's name in the lineup, and I was like, what's going on there? Because he was not in the lineup in this game. But yeah, Kako had three of the high danger chances. It just sucks that his line mates didn't necessarily really move the needle for me. His line mates, they need to break Kreider and Zibanejad up. I don't know how much we need to beat that drum, but it's just getting beyond infuriating at this point that those two are still together. And in particular, I was not really a fan of Kreider's game. I don't know how the hell he was third in expected goals according to Money Puck for this game. I thought he was brutal in this game. I guess because of that little breakaway chance he got, but I thought he was brutal. There was way too many times where he wasn't moving his feet, but I want to see Cooley on that first line with Kreider, not Kreider, with Zibanejad and Kakko. I think that would be a better working line. Move Kreider down to the third line and take some even strength minutes away from him because I just think he needs that. I really think he needs that, and I think it would be beneficial for him, for Zibanejad, for the team. We could talk about that ad nauseum because we have, but Kakko at least made that line at least serviceable today in terms of their offensive zone play. They didn't generate the most chances, but at least they were serviceable. That's what you could say at the very least, where in previous games they have not been serviceable at all. And I definitely owe Kakko an apology because I was the one saying he wouldn't be that big of a difference maker. I'm not necessarily saying he was in this game, but he definitely was noticeable in this game for the better. But there were still issues in the bottom six. The third line reeked tonight. Today. The third line reeked. That Benino, Wheeler, and Coley line is what I'm talking about. They're at the bottom of the chart, and it makes a lot of sense because every time I noticed that every time they were out there that they were hemmed in their own end time and time again. Laviolette, I guess, noticed it too because they ended up being broken up later on in the game. But yeah, they need to be better with holding on to these leads too, because I can tell you right now, the way they played that second period, if they played a better team and if Igor didn't make some big time saves, that game could have got very ugly. Washington was very sloppy with the puck and things could have got ugly, but you could say the same vice versa. I get it. The Rangers were very good offensively as well at points in this game, mostly the second line again, as you could tell by the score sheet. But regardless, yeah, like you could argue that they were good offensively, and Charlie Lindgren had to make some big saves at points in this game. But I don't know. I still feel they could have generated more with some of the possession they got, especially in the first period. The only thing that I was upset about after that first period really was how there was really not a lot of chances coming off of the possession, except for from that second line. That Lafreniere, Trocheck, and Panarin line continues to be the driving force of the offense. 4 out of their 5 high danger chances in that first period came from that line. I think it was 3 of them from Lafreniere and 1 of them from Vinny Trocheck. I don't think the Panarin goal was a high danger chance, but they did score 50 seconds in as the Rangers did get an opportunity. Trouba gives it over to Trocheck. Trocheck gives it to Panarin, and he ends up burying it to make it 1-0. So, yeah, definitely a much-needed start, and I felt like that set the tone early in the game for what they wanted to do in that period, and they kept getting some chances. Panarin gives one to Lafreniere at the doorstep. That got denied. Schneider breaks up a 2-on-1 rush opportunity. Trouba then has a nice defensive play on Dylan Strome, and I felt like they were playing pretty solid defensively early on, except for a couple of turnovers here and there. There was one where they were trying to go east-west going into the zone, but that was mostly from the bottom 6 yet again. I'm noticing I love Jimmy Vesey, and I think he's been good this year, but he at least has like 1 or 2 plays a game where I'm like, what are you doing with the puck there? One of them was very late in the game, which we'll talk about. And then there was another one at one point in the game that really just aggravated me. But Kreider went off for a high sticking in the offensive zone. That can't happen. And a very, very lazy penalty by Chris Kreider there. Rangers kill that off. And then right after, the refs miss Keandre Miller getting hooked. Fox gets interfered with later on in that play. But they don't call that. They gave a makeup call a little bit later on in the period, but regardless, you got to call one of those penalties when they were that blatant, especially the Fox one. That one was very blatant, but the second line then gets some chances. They couldn't bury it in front. Mika to Kreider on an opportunity, and Kreider's stick not on the ice because he aggravated me a lot today. I'm going to go in on Kreider a bit because he just annoyed me today. Sorry, it's just how it is. But Faravari then went off for a high sticking penalty. Trocheck feeds Panarin in front, denied. That was pretty much the only good chance on the power play there. The power play, too, if you want to talk about something that was terrible, the power play was just very, very... The power play was embarrassing today, if I'm being straight up honest. And it's part of the reason that this team has been in a hole that they've been in for the past couple weeks. They can't get that third goal because their special teams aren't cooking enough, and their 5v5 play is very reliant on that second line. It's very reliant. Strome hits the post as he walks in on Fox, and then it would be 2-0 though late in the period as a good keep in there by Braden Schneider. Lafreniere's in front alone. He gets denied on the first one and then buries the rebound 2-0. I'd be pissed if I was Charlie Lindgren. I'd be very, very pissed off because the back check in there was very lazy by Washington, but you take it. Then you have another garbage call there by the refs, and I can't believe I'm seeing Capitals fans complain about the refs online. Wheeler goes off for a high sticking penalty when he was breaking the puck out, and it was a follow through. What are you talking about there? I don't understand how they call a high sticking penalty on a blatant follow through on a breakout. Didn't make a lick of sense, but Washington gets a power play, and they didn't really have time in the end of the first, but I thought it was a solid first period for the most part. And the only thing that really annoyed me was that they were making a couple of east-west plays that bothered me. The bottom 6 didn't please me. And the first line, even though they were getting possession did not generate enough chances, but they did good defensively in that first period. They didn't really give Washington a lot. In fact, there was no high danger chances for Washington in that first period, except for I think on that power play they got there late. I think they got a couple of high danger chances there. Yeah, they had 2 in the period if you look at all situations. But 5v5, the Rangers played a good period, and then the second period they came out very flat. Second period they came out very flat, which was just aggravating. They killed a penalty off at least. Panarin and the Lafreniere in front. He fires wide. Washington continues to get pressure. They got some deflection chances, couldn't score. Second line gets hemmed in their own end. Igor makes some stops, and Trocheck had to clear a rebound chance away. And then it would be 2-1 as Gustafsson, a terrible, terrible breakout attempt, which we've been talking about, how they just sometimes flip the puck right into the slot. Washington puts the pressure on as she had a shot that went off of the crossbar and behind the net. And then the net front defense and just in general, terrible defensive play. If Strome gets it to Oshie in front, he's able to tap it in. Pretty much a copy and paste of what we saw in yesterday's game with that tapping goal in front. Got to be a lot better there. Got to be a lot better there. And you got to clear that puck out, especially Gustafsson. I didn't like his game at all. But then a rush chance for the Capitals. Thankfully, they were sloppy with the puck there. Trouba out of position, and that sets up a chance for Oshie in front. He got stopped. Faravari then goes off for an interference, and the Rangers just ice it on their own power play. That's just great. But they end up getting a 5-on-3 as Dowd goes off for a roughing. Kreider denied on the shot and the rebound with the glove. One of the penalties comes to an end. Mika gets denied on a 1-T chance. Lafreniere denied off of opportunity on the draw. Waste of a 5-on-3. You got to get way better looks than that. I'm sorry. Their power play did not move me. Did not move me at all today. That wasn't even the worst one, though. That 5-on-3 was brutal. But Trouba then has a chance for a breakaway. He was too slow there. Washington then gets chances the other way. Patches gets stopped. The rebound in front gets denied too as Miller is just blowing his assignment there. And then Trouba blew his assignment too in front. So, yeah, that's just great. But Washington continues to get more chances. Lindgren out of position. Igor makes a big stop there. Kuznetsov had a chance too. It would have been a kicking motion, but still. That period, though, was embarrassing. They looked way too flat. They allowed Washington to get into the game a bit. They were lucky to be out of that period with it being 2-1. They were very lucky to be out of that period with it being 2-1. It was pretty much the same thing. The power play was not good enough. The East-West plays were coming back into play there. And, yeah, they just look sloppy in their own end. And they should be thankful that Washington was very sloppy with the puck at points in this game. They should be very thankful. But third period rolls along. Edmondson goes off for a high sticking penalty early on. And the Rangers got just a couple of low, mid-danger chances. The best chance on that power play, honestly, was a shorthanded chance for Tom Wilson, but he ended up missing the net on that. Kakko then fires one on net, and then Lafreniere missed the rebound. Can't happen there. Bonino with a chance from Trouba, and Wilson bodies him off of the puck. McMichael walks in as Gustafsson, just again, not good defense there. Trying to stick check. Fired wide. Kreider with a chance alone after. Doesn't get the shot off. That was pretty much the only time you noticed him today. VC with a good takeaway in front of the net, and Charlie Lindgren just makes an unbelievable save. Aggravating. Gaudreau with a chance in front. That got denied. Oshie walks in, stopped, and then Lafreniere comes the other way, and he gets tripped by Carlson. Another just brutal power play. Oshie and Schneider go to the box then as there was a hooking and a slashing there. The 4-on-4 ends, and a brutal breakout from VC. Trouba then had one too. Igor makes a huge glove stop on McMichael. Trocheck clears the puck with 6 seconds left. That gave me a heart attack, but thankfully they end up holding on. Did I even mention that sequence there where Lafreniere was behind the net and set up Kakko in front? Yeah. I mentioned that, where he was behind the net and set up Kakko in front, denied. That was a very good chance. I was upset that Kakko couldn't bury that, because that would have been the best goal of the game from the Rangers. That Lafreniere was all over the place tonight. He was all over the ice, but the third period I wasn't in love with either. I thought they allowed too much. Lindgren, I get it, made some big saves. I'm glad the Rangers don't have to face him until the playoffs if they do. But, yeah, I didn't like how many high-danger chances they gave up at the end of the game there. I really didn't. Even though they had some, and the Rangers were the better team, in this game, but they got to be a hell of a lot better defensively. I think that's pretty much the tone. Even then, offensively, you're hearing the crowd shoot the puck, shoot the puck. I was part of that chant, sort of. I sort of was, but I digress. Before we jump further into the recap, though, by the way, be sure to leave a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on your notifications if you haven't already. All of that stuff. But yeah, I just want to see more from the other lines too offensively. Like Lafreniere, Trocheck, and Panarin continue to be the driving forces. I want to see more from them, and I want to see the power play get back to get some better looks at the very least. Like the power play is not even getting good looks at this rate, and you're not going to win a lot of games when you go 0 for 5 on your power play. They're now 2 for their last 15, and I was getting worried, and now it's getting even worse, to be honest, the power play. So that's a little concerning, if I'm being honest there. But yeah, definitely need to see improvement there. And you still need to see more improvement from the 5v5 offense a bit in terms of the other lines generating some chances. But that's just my thoughts. And I know people aren't going to be happy to hear me say all this after a win, but if we're going to say it's one game after, if we're going to say it's one game when they lose, I think the same should apply for when they win. It's good that they won, but I want to see consistent efforts, and I want to see better efforts, and I want to see them show me more before I am ready to, before I'm moved. But, and I think that's the approach every fan should have right now, is cautious optimism after this win. But I'm not going to tell people how to feel. You feel how you want to. You could think I'm a jerk off for feeling this way. It is what it is. We all have our opinions. We all feel certain ways, but that's just my thoughts. But I'm curious your thoughts as I'm going to get to the chat, which is a little quiet today. I apologize for going live late. I was at the game and can't control it. Can't control it when I'm at the game. Naturally happens. And I know football's on, so people probably aren't going to be watching until later or tomorrow. Yep, 1-0 with Kakko's return. Not overly impressed, but we'll take a win. I agree. Ugly win. I'm not convinced that this team is back yet. I feel the same way, Luca. Clean it up and move on. Yeah, hopefully, but we'll see. I kind of disagree, Robbie. I didn't think they were great on defense. I thought on the offensive side of the puck, they were better than the defensive side. That's for sure. But I don't know. I didn't love their defensive effort in this game personally. But that's just me. I don't know what's happened to the power play, Robert. I don't get it. It's concerning though, to be honest. But something's got to change on that power play. If Kreider's not going to deflect pucks, I'm sorry, get him off the power play and put Lafreniere there. Sorry. If Kreider's not going to do that, you got to get him off the power play. You take the W, but the performance and effort needs to be much better. I hope they could build off this result, but their overall game has to improve. Their power play has been garbage since the last month. Something has to change, whether that be how they enter the zone or the personnel on the power play. Laffy should be on the first unit. Yeah, I agree with your entire assessment that, yeah, you take the W, but they got to build off of it and build better efforts. Because I'm going to be straight up. They don't win this game if they play a better team. Like, I'm just being completely honest. They probably don't win if they play a better team. Well, you could argue too, I guess, if you want that. Well, the Rangers maybe score more if Charlie Lindgren doesn't stand on his head, but which I would say fair, but regardless, you need to see better defensive efforts. You need to see way better defensive efforts. Wasn't pretty, but gotta take the win at this point and hope that it's just something to build on going forward with the West Coast trip coming up. Yeah, especially when you got a red hot Seattle team walking into your barn on Tuesday. You gotta be prepared. Yeah, Kako had a good game. Thought the defense looked tighter. I could see the 1-3-1 a lot more from my seats today. Sticks seemed to be in better positions, and Chessie came up when he had to. Second period, they let up too much, though. They need to stop letting up. It's not like they even had a big lead. Yeah, they got way too comfortable with that lead. And it was noticeable. And yeah, I mean, it was an improvement defensively, but they need to be a hell of a lot better still. Like, this is not, like, the bar was low. So, I don't know. That might have been the worst win of the season. Be back in the losing side on Tuesday. I mean, we'll see. I'm not going to say that, but we'll see. I hope you're wrong about that and they win, but yeah, I'm not moved entirely by the win myself, if I'm being honest. Feel the Rangers played basically the same as they have been, other than blocking a lot of shots today. The 2 points are because Igor was on today. I agree with that, Mikey. I'm with you on that entirely. Yeah, I didn't like Mika's game either. Those two, Mika and Kreider, were very disappointing today, in my opinion. They were very disappointing. I thought Kakko was the best guy on that line. And to me, it wasn't even close. The charts say it was. To me, though, I didn't think it was close. I thought Kakko clearly was the best player on that line. Like, there was way too many times, especially with Kreider, where I didn't even notice him moving his feet at all. Except for that breakaway, but he didn't even get the shot off. Kakko looked good, missing him hang on to the puck in the offensive zone, but they need to capitalize on the zone times more. 1,000%. Yeah, they need to generate more from that. Kakko looked good, and I think he will continue to improve as he gets up to game speed. Yeah, that's the thing, too. He's still going to get up to game speed, and he's not even thrilled with the way he performed. That's something that I like to hear from a player. That, like, what we heard from Kakko in the post game is what you want to hear from a player. He said, it was pretty solid for a first game back, but not the best, not the worst, but I'm going to build off of it and I'll be better. That's what you want to hear. That is the type of accountability that I like. That made me very happy to see Kakko say that. And you know what? I think he had a very good game. I think he's being a little harsh on himself, to be honest, considering it is his first game back too. But I love to hear that. Like, that's the type of quote I like to hear. He's not satisfied. He knows that he could bring more to the table. I love to hear that. That's what you want to hear more of from players. I especially want to hear that from players that wear letters on this team. Kakko's way more accountable than them right now. Love to hear that. Love to hear that. I think they actually won the face-off dot battle, except for sometimes they looked a little sloppy in the face-off dot, though. Yeah. They won, but still look like crap. Yeah. They didn't look great, but it was nice to not immediately give up the lead. Tacked on another, and it was right before the period ended. Yeah, that too. Left got us so many power plays. Yeah, that too. Lafreniere, he drew a lot of penalty. I mean, he was the best player today. He was the best player. Easily. The fact that they took their foot off the gas for the second period was embarrassing, especially after a good first. A better team than the Caps would have taken advantage. Yeah. Huge issues. I agree. Caps without Ovi. I don't know what you're trying to say there, but yeah, they were without Ovi. They had a hard time looking good against bad teams, even though they've scored first in almost all of these losses. And with you, Kreider, yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I wasn't thrilled with Kreider's game at all. And I know people are going to show the expected goals and throw it in my face, but I'm sorry. His expected goal is because of the fact that, first of all, it wasn't even like he had that much. It was 0.56 expected goals for. And I know people are going to throw in my face, well, yeah, that's what a breakaway does. It brings up your expected goals for. So, and he didn't get the shot off. I want someone to enlighten me on what he brought outside of that breakaway opportunity in this game. Mika tries to weave into the zone too much all alone against 3 defensemen on the power play, and it's a momentum killer. Just leads to giving up possession and a clear. Yeah, I agree. I'll never forgive Gus for that play. Could have had a much needed shutout for Chessie. I'd rather see you ice the puck than put zero muscle on it and give it right. Yeah, I agree. I was so mad. Like, it feels like he's never getting a shutout because of the defense in front. But yeah, I mean, I'd rather that too. He's got to get that puck out like he means it. Kraken won't be as sloppy on Tuesday. We'll see. Yep, facing one of the hottest teams. Miller looks lost. He finds himself with a bouncing puck and 2 opposing players on him way too often. It's terrifying to watch. I mean, yeah, a lot of it also has to do with Trouba not playing the sharpest game either. They need to do a lot more than this for me to start believing in them. Currently, I have no faith with this team, but for all the criticism we give, I hope they prove us wrong. Yeah, I agree that I'm not moved entirely, but I hope that I'm wrong, and I hope that they go out there and kick Seattle's ass, and that would give me a huge wake up call and give me some optimism on this team, because you beat one of the hottest teams. That would give me some optimism. They forced the obvious too much on the power play. Mika one-timer and Cryer deflection when Panarin or Trocheck randomly shoot with screens in front. It goes in. Yeah, I agree. It's predictable. Imagine we had 2 lines like the second line. It would be another team. I do agree with you that Kreider needs to be moved to the third line. I would like to see Cooley, Mika, Kakko first. That's what I was just saying. Yeah, I don't know if you were here when I said that, but I said that exact thing, and I said it to myself too before the game when I saw the rushes in warmups, and I was like, really? Like, I get you want to put Kakko back there, but Cooley's been one of the better forwards. He didn't have the best game today. I get that, but he's been one of the better forwards. I didn't think he deserved to, be lower in the lineup at all, even with, having a poor game today. I think he'd be better on that first line than Kreider. I really do. I say big deal. This lineup has problems that we're bringing, bringing ignored, or that are being, I think you meant to say, being ignored because the points were coming. They don't have the killer instinct at all to go all the way. I mean, yeah, I can't argue. I can't argue with that, Steven. We talked about it yesterday that, certain guys that wear letters, it's concerning some of the lack of effort that they bring some days. Like, it's very concerning. You're getting more of an effort from guys that don't wear letters. Like Trocheck's giving more of an effort. He doesn't have a letter. No, I don't think he does. I know they have a lot of alternates, so I lose track. Fox is one of them. Kreider's a Zibanejad, Gaudreau, Panarin. I think those are their 5. Yeah, he deserves an A as of lately. Lafreniere deserves an A more. I don't know. Yeah, if Lafreniere improves his finishing, we've talked about this ad nauseum. If he improves his finishing, and if his line mates could actually finish some of his passes, that's when we're really going to see the point production really go up. And, it sucks that from a first overall pick, you're not seeing him finish those opportunities. So that's where there's still frustration from some fans. But he is visibly better. And you know what? You have to wonder if at some point he's just going to go on a huge goal scoring streak and he's going to start finishing these opportunities. And I would not be surprised if next year he comes in with even more confidence, works on his shooting a bit more, comes in with a whole nother level of confidence, and is a point per game player. But that's next year, obviously. That's a contract year too, so you're probably going to see improvement. Hit my mic there. I'm sorry. Yeah, the bottom six needs way better. Needs more talent there. The bottom six has not been good enough. Mika has 6 5v5 goals in 41 games, supposed to believe easily. Yeah, the 5v5 production needs to be better. And people, I get, are going to throw expected goals in your face and charts in your face, but at some point it has to translate to actual production. Has to translate, because it doesn't say you're snake bit or the goalie's robbing you all the time. High danger chances sometimes mean you're in the right spot to get an opportunity, but you could still miss the net entirely, or you could hit the post, or have a terrible shot. He needs to get going on his opportunities. Yeah, Kreider and Mika do need to be split up. 100%. Cooley wasn't great, but you got to feel for him when he plays with Wheeler and Bonino. Yeah, that's why I'm not worried about him at all. Like, Cooley will be fine. Cooley will be fine. Even then, looking at the expected goals for Kreider and Zibanejad, they're towards the bottom in terms of expected goals against. Oofa. Oof. And that's all situations. If you filter it to 5v5, I guess that's where the 0.58 came in from. I guess that like one chance he had early in the third period on that power play where he tried to deflect one. But if you look at 5v5, it tells you a whole different ball game, and that makes a lot more sense. It's like when Trocheck passes to Panarin, he's facing the worst AHL goalie, but when Laffy makes the pass, Hank is in net every time. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's infuriating. They could show me analytics all they want. The eye test shows me Mika hasn't been dangerous this year. No, I'm in agreement with you. You know that for sure. It's just like, I'm just hammering home the point that people could throw expected goals, this and that, all in our faces. But one, filter at the 5v5 if you're going to use Money Puck as the model, and it will tell you those were two of the worst forwards in the game today, right next to Will Coley. But Will Coley's at least been, he's been good and had a lot of good efforts this year. But yeah, like, they could throw it all in your face. There needs to be a hell of a lot better from those two. And they wear letters. And guys like Kreider, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to keep ripping on the guy, but it's so much more noticeable that there's days where he just doesn't show up. I'm there and I'm at the game today and people are like, is Kreider hurt? I'm like, no, this is just it. There are nights that he just takes off. Given up. I'm sorry. At best, we are a good team, but not enough to go all the way. I'm not gonna rip you for that take. I'm not gonna be here and be like, oh, you're an idiot, you're a moron. You could feel how you feel. I'm not here to tell anyone how to feel. But if you feel that way, I'm fair to you. Fair to you. No, Schneider had a better game today with a few strong defensive plays. Need Gustafsson to get it together. Yeah, I think Schneider was okay. I thought Gustafsson kind of dragged down the pairing there. I thought Schneider had a couple good plays. Like, there was that rush opportunity early in the game. Schneider did a good job breaking that up. That's what you want to see more out of from Braden Schneider. I thought he had a respectable game. He had a respectable game. I'm not going to sit here and say it was a great game, but it was respectable. But yeah, Gustafsson was mainly the factor. I want to see the score off the subject. I want to see the score of this. Oh wow, 27-7. Man, Blake cannot be. Blake's probably not in a good mood right now. Blake cannot be happy. Ferguson with the touchdown for them. Yeesh. Yeesh, and it's halftime. Sorry to go to football for a second, but I'll get back to you guys. I've given up. You can't be a soft skating team that doesn't skate every shift, game in and game out. If they gave 100 all the time, they can maybe outside teams or outskate. You said teams with goaltending may win a cup. Like, that's the thing that has been the point that I've been trying to make when people say that I'm negative, or that, I need to stop being so negative, this and that. It's because I've seen them have efforts where they're good. It's just always been up here for this group that drives me and other fans that say this insane. It's not coming from a negativity standpoint. It's because they are capable of giving good efforts. It's just that it's never consistent. And there's guys in that locker room that sometimes are okay with, oh, well, even though we didn't look good today, we got the 2 point, which, fine. Like, you should, that's what you're supposed to say. I get it. But, there needs to be more accountability is my point. Like, there needs to be times where they're not satisfied. It's just about up here where sometimes they're just satisfied and with sloppiness. Like, that's just what it is. Yeah, I'm just saying negative because that's the term they use. But in reality, it's just me criticizing them. And I wouldn't be pointing these things out if I knew they weren't capable of it. It's because I know they could provide more, and they just don't. They just don't. Was it still the holiday season at MSG today? There is a lot of people yelling at Wilson today. That one play that he had with Lindgren as he was going off, that was stupid. They would get destroyed by Seattle if they played like they did today. Yeah, I can't disagree. I can't disagree with you. Which we'll see how it translates come Thursday. We'll see how it translates come Thursday. So I don't know. I don't know if I really have much more to add in terms of the post game. Sorry for keeping it short. I'm sorry for going live late. Like I said, that's just what happens when I go to the game. So we'll be back at it again, though, on, did I say Thursday before? I meant Tuesday if I said Thursday. Jeez, what was wrong with me? Tuesday, though, we'll be back at it again talking about Seattle, and then we're going to have late games, which I know the chat's going to be dead for that, unfortunately. And I don't blame you. Get your sleep. Don't listen to me. Get your sleep. I'm not worth the time. You can listen in the morning if you really want to listen to this stupid voice yap. But regardless, I would appreciate if everyone did leave a like on their way out. Let's see if we could get to 50 on the post-game show here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to turn on your notifications too, so you know I upload or go live next. Subscribe. We're on the road to 2K subs. I'd appreciate all of it, and I do appreciate all the support you guys have given this season thus far and in previous ones. I appreciate all of you. Thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go, Rangers.